It was some years ago, and I don't know, I have a bad sense of time because I'm living on a linear plane. But some years ago, I met this young, good-looking, strapping Italian lad at a seminar in Paris. We just kind of, I looked over to him and I saw that beautiful smile. I just liked him right away. He just had a infectious little personality. And I think I'm always drawn in all these people that are really, really unbelievable minds. You know, he has like I'm always introducing people, the medical people in my life, to this guy and say, if Gianluca was a medical doctor, he'd be a household name because he would have got the Nobel Prize in medicine or science. He's discovered things about the human body that no chiropractor or medical doctor ever in human history has discovered. And there's other things, but the one thing that's very unique is because I've had a lot of trauma in my life, a lot of broken bones, scars from various fun times when I was younger. And there are traumas that get built up in these scars that affect things almost in a somatovisceral way, but scar, viscero, somat. Anyways, Gianluca discovered a way of finding this and clearing it out. And I just remember a profound evening one night. We were at a seminar in Spain, and we had gone out to dinner and had a little bit of wine, and we went back to the seminar where the tables were, and he started working on me. I don't know, it was 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was so profound, I fell asleep. And I just remember waking up some hours later, and he's just sitting there smiling at me. I'm like, what happened? He's like, you fell asleep, which is kind of strange, but I think it compliments somebody working on you. But I had him in Hamburg to show some of my medical people how to do this stuff, and I'm trying to encourage him to show people more because this is unbelievable. Most people have had some kind of surgery of something. Even, chiropractors, you had some tooth, maybe an appendix, something that's affecting something viscerally. And we talk all the time about people that come to him that have had many, many strange things. And this is something that's very unique about him. There's also things with metals, but this is something that our profession in the world does not know. And I want him to, because he has a lot of amazing stories, but what I want to ask you specifically is what led you on the path to figure this out? Because I'm always fascinated with people that figure things, because I've invented nothing new. It's the wheel. What led you up to that?
Thank you very much for having me here. And it was 2006 when we met, September 2006. And so I wouldn't say that I developed or I invented anything. I put together different things. After graduation in 2006, I started being exposed to different techniques, applied kinesiology, SOT, BEST, and different ones. TBM was another one. So I heard before about scar tissue, and I heard before about metals and some other things that might affect the body, the way it works, and compromise the body ability to express the full potential. And as everybody, you get busy. So I was studying these weekends. Then you go back in your office, you are busy. Yeah, you think a little bit about what you learned during the weekend, but I never really had the time to really sit down and think really carefully about what I learned in a critical way. And a lot of times you take it like that must be true because that person said that. And you don't even challenge that thinking. You don't even challenge that thing. You just go ahead and you repeat that because that person said that, because that person with 40 years of experience, because is 100 years that these people are doing that, must be true. And you just carry on that type of work. Then in 2012, I think it was, I moved to Norway. And when I moved to Norway, I started from scratch. But I had some knowledge at that point, and I had an empty office. So every time somebody was walking in, my first question was... What did you say, sorry?
Love the one you're with.
Yes. But no, the first question for them was, are you in a hurry? If somebody was in a hurry, I was respecting them. If they were not in a hurry, I was asking them, is it okay if you stay here for 1 or 2 hours? And they would say, yeah, that's okay. Good. They were my guinea pig. I was trying everything I was learning. I learned before.
Maybe research clients is better.
That's yeah. But anyway, I was doing experiment on these people. So I was critical to everything I learned. And basically, I was in a crisis for, after a while I was seeing and noticing certain things. I was kind of a little bit, because my belief system was challenged. And I had to reevaluate everything I was doing.
But you asked
Good questions, yeah. So one first thing that I noticed, for example, because as a tool to evaluate body function, I had muscle testing. So I was using the normal muscle testing that most of the time everybody's using when you do an AK seminar. That has to be reevaluated because I met Simon King, and Simon King does it in a slightly different way, but the information that you get, they are much more profound. So I started to notice that every single time that somebody is wearing metal, the body somehow doesn't work as well as it should. And then you remove the metal, the body change, you put the metal back, the body change again. And then I was putting wood, I was putting plastic, I was putting glass, I was putting leather. Leather was another one. Most of the leather, somehow the body changed. Why leather? So I went to speak with the people treating leather in Italy. I went in those factories. I was like, what do you use to treat leather? And they were using metal oxides. So we are going back to metal again. Why metal? And I started to speak with scientists. I started to speak with people doing research in a university in America. One was a doctor from Daytona University. And then I spoke with a lot of doctors in Italy. Finally, I met a guy, a dental technician. And he discovered, or he noticed, that some people was reacting to what he was putting in their mouth when he was doing some dental work. So there were some people were developing dermatitis or gum problems, or they were kind of tasting metal in the mouth. And then I started to, even reading research, and one of the challenges for orthopedic surgeons, and we have a few here, is oxidation for them. So there is always this new research for new material that it does interact with the body. And unfortunately, right now, there isn't a material that is completely inert to the body. Everything is oxidizing when you put in contact with us or inside the body. So this dental technician explained to me all of this, and he discovered about 30 years ago a way to stabilize metal alloys. And it has to be a noble alloy. If it's not noble, it's a problem, because you have oxygen in the reticular structure of the metal alloy, and that oxygen is bringing kind of instability in the alloy structure. And now you have, I don't want to go into the details, but you have that when the metal oxidizes, releases electrons and ion-charged elements to the body, and now every single part of our body has an electrical potential. Every single cell has an electrical potential. And as Mark was saying yesterday, we can survive a month maybe without eating, a week without drinking, a few minutes without breathing, but we don't survive 1 millisecond without that sparkle of electricity that is keeping us alive. So that quality is important as is existence. And this is what we are doing when we are restoring the mental impulse. It's the same thing. we are restoring not completely the mental impulse, but the quality, that communication. And that communication sometimes is compromised by something else that is interfering with our system. So we have this electrical network that doesn't want to be annoyed by electrical magnetic field and by electricity. And the other component then, as you said before, it was a scar tissue. So I started to, it was curious, when you ask people, so until 2 months ago, what did you have? Nothing. Okay, what did happen 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, or 4 months ago, whatever. And you find that there was a lot of times something interesting in their life. So either they might had like another trauma in their life, or maybe they had some other trauma before. So, and especially when somebody says, I've never been really good in my life. Since I'm a kid that I'm sick. Well, if you ask the question, there is something in their childhood that affected their life. Either they have an operation, or either they had, for example, one case that was really interesting. In Italy, 1.5 years ago, there is a big hospital for children in Italy, and this has a very, very good reputation for helping children. It's in Florence. But I discovered just 1.5 years ago that they do a lot of surgery to these kids for sometimes very questionable reasons. So there was this guy, is a good football player, 13 years old, of the team. He's a city near my house, and they have a good team. And this guy was going to have screws put in his foot because he has bilateral pain in the feet. And one of my patients said, can I bring these kids in, because my son got really much better after he came here, maybe you can help this guy. So he had the operation in the right testicle because it didn't descend, and dysfunction was restored. Every time we were pressing on that scar tissue, his body was working. We removed the challenge on that scar, nothing was working. So we corrected that little scar that he had, maybe 1.5 centimeter, and the pain in the feet gone.
Maybe so people don't realize you're talking about the scar on his.
No, it was it was. No, it was a little. It was on the side. It was on the side.
Wherever it leads.
It doesn't. I don't care where the scar is. Has to be released. Yeah, I think, to express 100% life, we have 100% intelligence, which is always there, 100% of mental impulse, and 100% matter. And I think in the chiropractic kind of world, this formula is perfect. Is one of the green books, and Stevenson speaks about this. But I think this formula we are missing a little bit. From what I noticed, we are very good in the first two, in the second one, the restoring the mental impulse. But if we don't express our intelligence via the nervous system through matter properly, because matter is not able to express that will, we never help. I feel that probably we are not helping as much as we could that person. That's what I feel. So I really hope that we can integrate, because it's really simple. I feel that it's really, really simple to learn this. And sometimes another thing that I notice is that we are, at least me, I was jumping into the back, in the spine and adjusting these people. But now the adjustment is the last thing I'm doing, because most of the time the spine changes in a matter of seconds, of minutes, as you release certain things that maybe the nervous system is picking up and is reacting to them, creating the dysfunction in the spine. So I like to go to the spine and make the adjustment now as the last thing, like, okay, now just tune a little bit instead of going and do major correction, sometimes against maybe the body will, because the body is trying to have that in order to compensate for something else that is happening. But of course, we are improving overall health anyway, because we are removing some stressor in the nervous system. But in the other way, I think is pretty cool because it's the body itself that is doing it. We are kind of stepping back a little bit. That's why I call it the eagle eye approach, because I want to step back and look from away and see things that they are manifesting by themselves, and then I intervene only in the little touch. That is the way I like to see it. Or